So my name is Sunny Hoppe. I've been doing reverse mortgages for almost 15 years. I've never done a forward mortgage like a VA or jumbo or anything like that. I've been teaching CE classes for several years. We started when the reverse for purchase was approved, passed by the legislature in November of 2013. It was all of the country except for Texas. The reverse for purchase started in 2008 in the rest of the world. And we just, Texas changed, we had it on the ballot in November of 2013. It passed, then it took Trek and everyone else until March 14 to get all the right papers, drafted and all that stuff. So, and then we've been closing them since April of 14. Have any of you ever done a reverse for purchase?
No.
Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
What have you heard about it?
Well, there's mixed opinions as to whether it's a safe way for seniors to use their equity out of their property.
Okay. All right. Is that all you've heard? Surely there's more bad than that.
Oh, you hear all kinds of stuff like, they get the home when you die. And
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
No.
Who does get the home when they
it.
die? Who does get the home when
The
they die?
heirs, right?
If they have
That
it in the
doesn't
will,
change
yes.
the law.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when the people die, how long do the heirs have to pay off the reverse mortgage if they want to?
That's why we're here.
1 year. And that's important because Texas is 1 year. Everywhere else is 6 months. So if you're talking to somebody, there's a notepad in the red folder if you want to do that. Everywhere else in the United States, it's 6 months. So I can always tell when I'm getting a call from somewhere else other than caller ID. But they'll say, and we only have 6 months to redeem the house, pay off the loan. Then I know they're calling from someplace else. Because everywhere else in the United States is 6 months, Texas is a year. When we got on the ballot in November of 13 for that election, part of the deal was, this one thing and I'm part of NAR, National Reverse Mortgage Lender Association, and they sent all these big, high-priced, big-gun lobbyists down, which I thought was great. And that was one of the things that they really, really pushed for was we want a year in Texas. So that's why if someone said, because when you're telling somebody it's a year, they're going to say, no, it's only 6 months. Or they can say, no, I think it's like 30 days. So the answer is 12 months from the date of death. And if you need more time, because then you can always get more time. Lenders do not want the house back. Okay. Almost every reverse mortgage is an FHA insured loan. Now, when I stuttered, I said every reverse, and I said almost every reverse, because I also do proprietary reverses for giant homes. So if somebody has, let's say it's a $2.3 million home in Highland Park, and the tipping point is 72. They can do it from 62 up, but when they turn 72, they get more equity out of it if they do the proprietary on a $2.3 million house at age 72. So you'll have, and I have this kind of ongoing argument with people in Highland Park and South Lake now. But no, I want to do the proprietary, I get more money. Well, yes, and understand that both the FHA and the proprietary are age-driven products. The younger you are, the lower amount of equity you're going to get out. And the contrary is true on a reverse for purchase. The younger you are, the greater percentage you have to put in. And we have some tables and charts we'll look at later. So you have basically two different sets of papers. You have a red folder that has, let's say, non-CE stuff in it, okay? And then you have a handout that looks like this. and this is the official CE course. Okay. Also in the red folder on the left, and the reason I do this is because I really, really love realtors, and I don't ever want you all to be embarrassed or go, or anything like that. So I include just about everything you're gonna need to start your first reverse for purchase. I have a realtor he's over in Frisco Lakes, and somebody had called him the other day for a reference on me because, and that happens a lot because people will find my web pages and things, and they're moving from California, they're moving from Ohio, wherever. They call up lots of other lenders or realtors, and they go, say what? Oh, a reverse what? Oh, you don't want to do that. The answer that they give, the reason they give that as an answer is they don't know anything about it. So instead of saying, you know, I've heard about that, but I don't really know anything about it. Let me root around and find somebody. They don't do that. They go, no, you don't want to do that. Because it's just, I've heard bad things about it. Like what? Well, I can't remember, but they're bad. You don't want to do that. Instead of just saying, you know, I don't know anything about it. So a lot of times the people will then call me, the customer will call me and say, do you know anything about a reverse for purchase? And then I always like sit up in the chair and go, honey, do I know about it? I teach a class on it. Then I have the loan and I have the customer. What do I need? Realtor. Okay. So this guy in Frisco Lakes, when this person called him the other day she was looking at me on the website, and so she called my office, and my assistant said, well, you know, why don't you call a couple of these realtors, because we have a list of references in there. So call some of these realtors that Sonny's worked with, and just ask them anything you want. So this gal called that realtor, and he said, yeah, I think I kind of like her because she's given me 3 deals. Now, the only reason I have him get my deals is, A, in the class he stayed awake. He wasn't like, because a lot of them do. And he asked really good questions. I mean, I could tell this guy was sitting there going, he could kind of, from time to time, looked like he was kind of maybe daydreaming or something. And what he was doing was figuring out, let me see, how can I make that? Let me see if I do. So he was already thinking about how can I make this work for my clients. And it turned out that he had 2 clients in his back pocket, and this was perfect for them. So, he called me the day after the class and said, when could you meet with some people? And I went, like now. So he really, he stayed awake in class. It was very exciting for me to be around somebody like that. And so that's why I've given him the 3 deals over in Frisco Lakes. So if any of you know Frisco Lakes well, and you want leads or customers, I don't normally give you leads, I give you deals. I give you a customer. Because I've already done what I call the financial assessment on them. If they said, yeah, I'm looking for like a $400 million house, then I said, great. And what is your income? Well, I get 850 months Social Security. And I just want to say, and then how much you get from that giant big portfolio that you must have that's going to support this giant big house? Oh, I don't know. Did you get a big divorce settlement? No, I don't think so. But that's what I saw, this house on the internet. It's $4.5 million. Great, you have to be able to support it. So we're going to get into some of the income requirements, but I've already run these people through. If any of you ever been in the cattle business, you run all your cows through a squeeze chute. So they've already been in the squeeze chute. Haven't docked them all yet, but they've all been through the squeeze chute. So I'm not going to send you, I think I want to do this. I have some really good friends who are moving down here from Wisconsin down to Mineola. And so she said, would you find us a realtor? And I went, I don't think I'm doing that. And she said, why not? I said, because your husband drives me crazy and you're my best friend. You'll have to find your own realtor. So now they've had 3 realtors.
We thank you.
Yes. And I was telling a friend of mine out in Mineola who is a realtor who came to one of my CE classes and stayed awake. And I had given her 2 other leads, or deals, and I was talking to her last week, and I said, by the way, you owe me a brownie, and she goes, okay, what for? I said, I did not refer you to my best girlfriend in the world. And she goes, why not? I said, because her husband's a turd. Oh, good, thanks. So I've already checked out the people pretty well and running through the chute, so to speak. So back to the back to this stuff. So on the left-hand side of your red folder, these are things you're gonna need to do your first reverse purchase. This is a sheet that came directly out of the new contract. You'll see we also have the third-party financing addendum. And we got it new and improved our last session, notice that? So we've got the reverse mortgage financing at the bottom, and it's checked, and it will be an FHA. The next page is part of that, and it's and this is your choice, whether or not you and your customer want to make this contract, make the sales price and everything binding, not binding, but as if it doesn't, that's a mandatory escape clause, but you want to make sure that the buyers are going to get approved for reverse mortgage financing. So you might want to give me a call first. And the rules have changed dramatically. Last October 17th of 2015, they changed dramatically in my world. I never had to worry about finances before. I don't mean my personal, I mean my customer. I literally could do a reverse or a reverse for purchase one day out of bankruptcy. I could do, and that's a chapter 7, I could do them one day out of a 13 too, but I could even do them in 13. All I had to do was call the trustee, because I know most of the trustees around here, and call them and say, hey, I didn't get them. I got their clerk or assistant. Can I do it? Sure. What's the name again? Here's the phone number. Sure, we can do that. And it was snap, snap. Now I can't do that anymore. I can still call the trustees, but we have to do a giant set aside of extra cash to pay their lifetime expectancy on property taxes and homeowners insurance if they have, as I call it, crappy credit. Before, I never had to worry about that at all.
And the HOA dues too?
Yes, we have to, and that's called a LISA, life expectancy set aside. We have, if there is an HOA fee, we have to set aside the youngest borrower's life expectancy on that. So all your papers you're gonna need, you're probably not gonna wanna use physically these, but they give you a clue as to what they look like when you're looking on the website. This, a mandatory escape clause, this is something I will print out for you. And the reason you see it's whited out in there is this came out of someone's actual loan. And that is where the actual sales price goes, where it's whited out.
What's the QR code?
That's when we turned it into underwriting. You're not gonna use this piece of paper.
No,
I would generate a brand new one for your customers. I just wanted you to be familiar with that.
Okay.
Now, someone is gonna say, I don't need this. Why do you think you don't need this, a mandatory escape clause?
I think it's required on all FHA loans, isn't it? Regular forward mortgages even now, a mandatory clause, and real estate certification is one form of the appraisal. Yeah.
But why do you think you don't need mine?
It's written for another transaction.
I don't mean mine, this one. But in your TREC contract, you have an mandatory escape clause. And you have a real estate certification. Good point, excellent point. So you will, sometimes realtors always want to give me pushback on it and say, you know, I don't really need to do that because I have those in TREC. Fine, I'm so happy you have them in TREC. So now everybody knows where they're gonna sign on mine. Because the lenders want this.
Right.
Because it has that magic code on it up here.
Right.
That denotes this goes with her, or this set goes with Angel. Okay? So let's go back, so all your stuff you're gonna need is in here, in the red folder. So let's go back to the actual, quote, CE class. Some people call this a H4P or a HECM for reverse or a HECM for purchase. A HECM is the acronym for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. The confusion or problem is people, customers, they don't understand HECM. So if you say to them, you know what, we got to do a HECM for purchase, and it means nothing. But if you say we ought to do a reverse for purchase, then they understand that, okay? So remember I said this is age driven. The younger they are, the more they would have to bring to closing. Their funds have to be seasoned. They can't, now if they won the lottery, that would be just great. Of course, if they won the lottery, they wouldn't be doing a reverse for purchase, would they? But they cannot borrow the down payment. They can't borrow from a bank. They can't borrow from their daughter. So their daughter, assuming she's loaded, is going to write a gifting letter that says, I hereby gift my mom $185,000 with no hope of ever being repaid. Now, if they have a side note that I don't know about, I don't really care about that. You will be amazed at how many daughters. I always think it's funny. I've only had two sons. I've only had two sons cough up the money. It's always the daughters who can say, "Yeah, I could loan her, $180,000," and I'm like, "You could?" I mean, I'm just floored by that. Are you guys shocked that a daughter could say, "I can loan her 140, 180 grand"?
Well, I'm not the firstborn, that'd be my sister's job. Live with you, or you cough up the cash, whatever you want.
Yeah, we told my mother she can live in a shed. I mean,
Wow.
No wonder everybody says I'm such a good son moving all the way from Austin to
Boys
take
are
care of
much
my
nicer.
parents.
Boys are much nicer to their mothers, I think.
Wow.
I'm glad I got 3 sons then.
Yeah.
You'll be well taken care of.
Chinese, we don't have a choice, you pretty much just kinda,
deal with that.
deal with it.
They do, don't they?
Yeah. The sons usually take care of the mom, but I don't have any brothers, so it's me and my sister.
Oh, no. So when your people say to you, this is where I'm gonna do this little demonstration. So the people come to you, they just moved here, or they're going to move here from somewhere, I don't really care where. I will tell you this though, their grandchildren, of all the loans, all the reverse for purchases I've done, it's the grandkids who are usually the hook. They want, oh yeah, because my grandkids live here. They never say my son or my daughters, you know, my 3 grandkids live here. In fact, I was just out with somebody last week and she goes, you know, I just can't believe this. I have a new grandbaby on the way and she lives in Austin. Why can't you live down the street for me? I could babysit her. So the hook seems to be my grandkids, okay? So,
Do you have that effect?
oh, they do,
you have that
yeah.
effect?
So you answer the phone, or I don't know if you if you have phone time or how you find your clients. But you have a client that calls and says, "Hi, I just moved here from San Diego." Now this is pretty much a true story. In fact, we closed the loan right here at this table. So the lady calls me and says, "Hi, listen, I'm moving, and my son, who's smart in California, said I should do a reverse for purchase." And I'm thinking, golly, somebody actually knows about this. Is amazing, because this was last year. And I said, wow, this is super. I said, what do you know? And she said, and my condo in Long Beach, overlooking the ocean, is almost ready to close. So my son found you on the internet, and I need you to call him right now and tell him how much you know about this thing. I said, okay, do you want a conference in? Because I know everything, which I thought, because humility is not a trait of mine. So we conference his son in, he asked all these questions. He says, okay, Mom, use her. Okay, great. So I said to the mom, how much money do you have? And she said, well, she really said $300,000. So, and I thought, wow, some realtor's gonna get a nice check on this one. She said, but my son was in a couple weeks ago, he and I drove all around Frisco Lakes, and I found the house I want, but it's $500,000. And I really want it, but I don't have much money. And I said, don't worry about it, we've got lots. So we ended up selling her, this is the guy in Frisco Lakes, he was so excited, this realtor. So he sold her the big house on the green in Frisco Lakes, and she put up X and we put up X. And everybody was happy. Her son was happy, she sold the condo in California, got the money out of it, and we can sit on a loan for a while and kind of drag it out if you want us to, because they haven't closed that and they don't have the money yet, or we can speed it up, okay? You're gonna be the driver. Actually, your clients are gonna be the driver. So let's try to explain, I'll now explain how a reverse or purchase works. This is a $150,000 house, because your customer says, I just sold my house in Eagle River and I netted $150,000. So do you have anything in, let's say, Frisco Lakes or anywhere around here for $150,000?
No, not much.
Not even like a one-bedroom condo, probably anymore.
So you take her out and you start showing her $150,000 houses that look like this, okay? And she's like, I don't think so. Then you're driving down the street and she sees this house. And she says, oh, that's me, that's the house. And you say, okay, so we had to do a reverse for purchase. You put up your $150,000 and the lender will put up the other money. She'll put up the other $150,000. So how much commission did you make on a $300,000 house versus a lovely $150,000 house? Is there a difference in commission there?
Yes.
How much?
4,500.
Double.
9,000 is the answer.
Yeah.
You make 18,000 here, you make 9,000 here. Not that you should worry about how much you're gonna make, because when you're working with seniors, I always just care about them. Because I know if I put them first, it's all gonna flow downhill, and hopefully it's all good that comes downhill. So this is how a reverse or purchase works, very simply. You drive them down the street, they go, ooh! I used to work, this is a really bad story about me. I worked for Virginia Cook a million years ago. I forget when.
You look good then. You look good.
For the million years of
Yeah.
Virginia Cook. Oh, okay.
Nice, I went there too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Virginia Cook. I could tell you stories about her that were just amazing. So you know how when you go in or apply or whatever it is, she runs you through this battery of tests. And she said, Sonny, I can't wait for you to get your license. This is going to be great because you tested here on the test. This will tell you how old I am. You and Mona Biscamp tested here. Everybody else was somewhere down here. Sonny, you're going to make a fortune. Oh, by the way, what kind of car do you have? I said, I have a Corvette. No, we got to get rid of the car. You need to go buy a 4-door Cadillac. So, of course, I go get my license. I call my daddy. I said, Daddy, listen, I need you to buy me a Cadillac, 4-door. He laughed and hung up. At least he laughed. My mother was on the extension. This is a long time ago when we had extensions, you know. Daddy was up in the bedroom and she was in the kitchen. She said, I guess it's kind of rude that your daddy laughed. I said, no, I thought the hanging up part was rude. So 2 days later he called back and he goes, I'll tell you what, I'll give you my American Express credit card. You go rent a 4-door Cadillac every time you need it. You're gonna go show property, rent a car. You're gonna go sell a property, rent a car. So the next question is, how many times did I rent cars? 0. So in 90 days, because I had set, my parents said, we'll support you for 90 days. So in 90 days, I had never rented a car, because I didn't need to. And I had never shown a listing. I mean, never gotten a listing and never sold a house, never had a showing. How's that? So my dad, so I went into Virginia, I said, Virginia, listen, and Sheila Rice was there. And I said, listen, I have to quit. I gotta find a real job where I'm actually gonna make money. And Virginia looked, and she has those beautiful eyes, and I think she was faking this. I think she can fake it. She kinda looked like she was tearing up. And she said, Sonny, was she faking it? No.
Probably, she's good.
Good faker. She said, I'm so sorry. She said, I just thought you were gonna be my new Mona Biscamp. Now, those of you that are younger don't know, and I'm not referring that you're old, but you guys probably don't know who Mona Biscamp is. You do. But this chick was awesome. And I shouldn't call her a chick because she was an older lady when I knew her. She was probably 68 then. So anyway, and Virginia said, I just can't believe you failed. You are my most miserable failure. And I said, that's okay, I'll go do something else with my life. So now, and then I went on, did other things, and then I got into this business, and she was one of the first people I called when the reverse of purchase came in. And she even signed the petition and all that stuff. So I'll never forget that. The day I called my daddy, will you buy me a $4 cabinet? And he said, no, but I'll give you my American Express. Use it anytime you're gonna sell a house, anytime you're gonna list a house, use my credit card. Never
He's
use
a
it.
smart man.
Yes. So, this is a reverse for purchase, plain and simple. When somebody says to you, well, I only have $200,000. I want, what's 2 times 200,000? Quick. No,
400,000.
quick. How much is 2 times 300,000?
Oh, six.
Good. 2 times 150.
300.
2 times, wait, I can't do it. 2 times 224.
448?
Good, and I can't do any more. So that's all you really need to know. When they tell you X, just understand, we're gonna show up with the rest of the money. I think this is so cool, because you realtors, when you close on a house at the closing or something, normally you give them really nice things, and I always say, yeah, and I just give them a house full of cash. It's so much easier.
So they have to be 62 is the age.
Everybody has to be 62, that's an excellent point. Yes, everybody.
If both people in the household.
Yes,
Or there's
so,
children.
if, not their kids,
No.
but if you have a 70-year-old dude with a 58-year-old trophy wife, they're not gonna get any kind of a reverse mortgage. Now, somebody is gonna say, no, you're wrong, because in California, right, they smoke dope in California and they ride waves all day. But it's a joke. One of the most successful reverse mortgage gals happens to be with our company, and she's in California, and she's the one that started me in the business. She and I were stewardesses, not flight attendants, stewardesses, a million years ago. And when she got into the business, she said, Sonny, this is what you need to do. Well, I couldn't do it then because they weren't in Texas. They only came to Texas in 2001. Then the reverse for purchase came in 2013, really 2014. So when people say to you, no, no, my young babe wife, then you say, I always want to say to the guy, so was it worth it? Because you're not getting a reverse for purchase. And then they always argue. They will always argue with you or me. And I don't want you all to get in the middle of the argument, because your job is to keep that customer happy. You want to go to the bank. Let them argue with me.
Or if the woman has a young trophy husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of that going around.
Well, there's not as
There
much
is.
as we would
Okay.
like, but it is going around. Let me borrow your thing just a second. I just need this real quick. Speaking of getting mad, quick like a bunny, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but I want to point this out. See this little blue card right down here? This is Michelle Spalding's card. She is a transaction wizard, transaction manager, transaction consultant, okay? I use her for every loan, every reverse for purchase loan, I use her. I pay her fee. What does that mean for you? That means you all don't have to worry about somebody, either the seller or the buyer, getting mad at you, because she knows what she's doing for me, and she's gonna run ramrod on the thing. Also understand, you're gonna love this part, especially if you're representing the seller. The seller can pay no fees.
What do you mean, what fees?
No closing costs.
For
Someone's
themselves,
gonna-
For themselves.
No lender fees. I'm sorry, no seller fees. So, who's gonna pay for their title insurance? When you sell a house, normally doesn't the seller pay for some title?
It's negotiable, but yes.
So how much is that normally? Couple grand?
Yeah.
Stays in their pocket.
Seller can't pay anything.
Anything.
They cannot pay.
Cannot.
What about the rules on title
Cannot.
fees?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What about the rules on title fees? If we charge a buyer, we have to charge a seller. They have to be equal amount.
No. I will tell you how to do the HUD one.
Okay.
Oh, and that's something else. Do you know this we'll come back to this, I don't wanna go away from that, I wanna tell you something else. You know the nasty word called TRID?
Yeah.
Does not come into my life.
Oh, good.
Am I blessed?
Yes.
Good. I use a good old-fashioned good faith estimate. I use a good old-fashioned HUD one. TRID does not matter at all. I can close a reverse for purchase in as little as I've done it in 6 days. But everything has to be dovetail. All I really need is the appraisal, and if they want a home inspection.
So average days is how many days usually?
I'm sorry?
Average days to close?
Depends on, so much depends on everybody else. Now, Michelle is, I think of her, back to the cattle thing, as the little electric cattle prod, but she's nice about it. I don't imagine anyone here's ever been accidentally hit with a cattle prod.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like come
Not
to
accidentally.
Jesus quick,
No.
okay? So it's kind of like right up there with a taser. So, I mean, that's why cows go in the squeeze chute so quick. It's going to depend on everybody else, but probably me. How fast can we get the appraisal done? The first step to a reverse for purchase after you call me is your client's gonna have reverse mortgage counseling, okay? I can hook them up with some 800 numbers they can call. That's gonna run 125 to 150 bucks. Put on a credit card right then. Then I'm gonna zip out the part of the application that they need to sign. Then they don't have to sign the whole application. Then I'm gonna pull the FHA case number, then I'm gonna get it appraised. And then we go into go mode. We are go. Yes, ma'am.
Do you do the reverse mortgage counseling?
No, I do not.
Who does? I mean, is it like an actual class? I'm just wondering if
Oh,
it's something
no.
you could sit in on, because it would just be interesting.
Well, you could, it's not a class.
Okay.
They do it, well, I guess you could go in person. The reason I don't ever suggest my clients go to a place for the reverse mortgage counseling is, keep in mind, all my customers have to be 62 at least. My average age is 78. Having a 78-year-old person, usually a woman, or a guy who's usually a retired Raytheon engineer, sit in a room with a 20-year-old counselor saying, now let's talk about your checkbook, Missy. I mean, this guy's been everywhere. He's been in Korea. If he's a little older, he's been in WW2. He didn't want this little kid with peach fuzz telling him about his checkbook. So I've only had people go through classroom counseling twice, and they both got really upset. So that's why we do it by the phone. I mean, I suggest on the phone. I've had a couple of people who say, no, I want to go. So there is a place over in Virginia, pardon me?
The Virginia Parkway?
Thanks, Virginia Parkway and McKinney that does it. If you want to call it, you will have to pay the 125, 150 bucks. It's not that thrilling, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
In fact, it's funny, I always think this is so funny. On the counseling certificate that I get back, the amount of time is always 60 minutes.
Right on the.
Always 60
Yeah,
minutes.
sure.
My customers call me, because they tell me, I'm scheduled at 10 o'clock today, and I always say, will you give me a call when you're done so I can answer any questions? Sure, 10:15. Hi, Sonny, we're all done. And I sit there and I get their counseling certificate in 60 minutes. I'm like, oh, cool. So sometimes it takes 15 minutes, sometimes it takes 40 minutes. Okay, but I can give you those numbers if you're interested. That's fine. Your customers pay for the appraisal. It's gonna be $450 to $500 they have to pay up front. Those are the end of their upfront fees. okay? As far as the seller cannot pay anything. On the HUD one that's gonna come down, you will see X amount for the title insurance for the buyer. And I don't know if you can
I mean, the
represent the
loan
buyer.
insurance or the title?
Title insurance,
Okay.
okay. Don't scare me like that. And then you're gonna see probably 200 on the line right below it. So you're gonna have lender's title policy, owner's title policy. Instead of seeing that big, whatever the number's gonna be, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000 for title insurance, you're gonna, all the title companies know, we reduced that line right down there to 200. The other thing is, title companies love me. I shouldn't say me. Some of them really don't like me at all, but because it has to be done a certain way. That's usually why. Because their title policy with me on a reverse for purchase, guess how much it is insuring?
Nothing.
Uh-uh.
The loan amount.
Guess again.
Purchase price.
Yay!
Oh, okay.
So if I'm doing a $600,000 house,
They always do, don't they?
Yeah.
no, on a
For
forward
the
loan,
title.
on a forward loan, the title policy mirrors the loan amount.
Right.
Gotcha.
On a reverse, the title policy mirrors the appraised value / sales price.
Mm.
Okay? So title companies, when they figure that out, they go, hi Sonny, hey, why don't we have lunch? Let's have dinner, pumpkin. Because all of a sudden they figure, oh wait, I'm making title fees on $550,000 instead of whatever the loan amount would be.
So what does it cost a purchaser in fees, since nobody else can pay them and?
Well, the only other big fee is going to be the seller side of the title policy, and the title companies reduce that to $200, and it goes on the buyer side. The buyer pays it. The fees are going to be just kind of like everything else they would be on a regular mortgage. But I will tell you this, there is a big number, because you probably all heard, have any of you heard the fees on reverses are so high?
No.
Oh, well, you're going to start hearing that. So you say, yeah, but you know what? One of the really big fees is that magic FHA insurance policy that makes this a walk-away loan. All reverse mortgages and also reverse for purchase are non-recourse. You might want to write this down. These are the lawyer words. Non-recourse. That means nobody can come back after anybody for anything. No deficiency judgment. Do you know what that is? If you don't speak up.
I know.
You don't? Okay, I'm glad you said that. So, let's say the whole deal goes, they buy the house, they live in it for I don't care how long, and all of a sudden the house goes into foreclosure because they can't pay the property taxes or whatever. If you had a regular loan, a regular mortgage with Chase, Citi, you name it, and they sold the house at foreclosure, oh, but they only got $100,000 and the loan is $300,000. That $200,000 difference is called a deficiency judgment. Let me tell you, they will sue for that. Now, they might be really nice, and I can't believe somebody told me this just the other day, where the customer was so happy because they decided to forgive that amount. Guess what then he called? This was a CPA that called me.
Yeah.
Oh, he got a 1099 something or a
For
1099
the
R or R.
1099, I think it's an
$299 for
F.
the $200,000 in income.
For the
That
write-off
they
amount.
forgave it.
Right.
They forgave it. But the customer was so happy. And I was sitting there thinking, you're not gonna be. So, but that is a deficiency judgment, the shortfall from what they owed and what the lender really got out of it. That's not no deficiency. The best, the most magic words in the whole world are no personal liability to everybody. So,
So the estate won't be sued for proceeds on life insurance or anything like that after the,
correcto.
wow.
That means nobody. So this is what I call, and they call it in California, I love this word, a walk-away loan. So everybody just walks away. Now, I can tell you lots of stories about it, but probably the cutest one I love And this was not on a reverse for purchase, it was on a regular reverse. I did it in 2001. Property values were here when it was a really nice house in Garland. When this lady called me to do a regular reverse, you know, I called my appraiser and he said, I think it's gonna appraise about here. I'm thinking, that's still good, because I'd seen the house. It was a great house. It wasn't fabulous, but it was a nice house. And we were all guessing maybe, I don't know, maybe 150. The appraiser comes back, it's $290,000. Now, this is when you used to be able to talk to the appraisers. So I would send Matt steaks every year for Christmas. And Matt knew, oh, it's Sonny's loan, we need to really look for the high ones. And so I called him, I said, Matt, are you good with this appraisal? Yep, he said, Sonny, it has no Sonny factor in that at all. Stakes were not a concern on that loan. That is really what that house is worth. So we gave her this much money, and she was like, really? And I said, really? So she got a loan this big. In 2009, 8 years later, she called and she goes, oh, I gotta tell you this. This lady sent me probably 18 customers. The lady got a facelift, which I need desperately. She got a facelift with her money. She got boobs, I don't know what else she got. And she also went on a couple of cruises, because I could just, and she did ballroom dancing. I could see her with her purple boa. And she met a guy, Mr. Close. She said there's only one Mr. Right, and that was her husband. But I met Mr. Close, and we're getting married. The problem is, he's in Charleston, South Carolina. I said, I don't see a problem. She said, no, but I'm here. I've got this reverse mortgage on my house. I've already called a realtor. I can't sell this house after realtor fees for what I owe on my reverse. Because we loaned her this much. Now it's only worth this much, and she has added interest and added, you know, principal and interest added in. What am I gonna do? So I said, being a girl, I said, pack your best lingerie, leave the keys on the counter. I said, take everything you want out of the house, stop the paper, stop the utilities, take everything you want out of the house and put the keys on the counter and take your best lingerie.
Oh.
And she did, and I even went to the wedding. And it was so cool because there I sit looking at her and her 3 bridesmaids that all had the same faces. And they all had done reverses through me.
Oh.
That's funny.
So, I mean, there's some really great stories. And if you do this for your customers, a reverse for purchase, you're gonna transform their lives. You
I
really
have a
will.
question. Were you gonna ask a question?
Go ahead.
Well, my question was gonna be, I had it. What if it's a new one
New
and,
construction?
no, a new loan and then they die, but they'll still have equity, right? Because the reverse for purchase, right? Or no?
Depends on when they die. Are they gonna die soon?
Yes.
Okay.
So they do it, they die soon, they
I mean,
still
if they're
have equity
considerate,
because
they die soon.
they haven't gotten the money, right?
No, there is no extra money on a reverse for purchase.
Okay, well, explain that
Yeah,
to me
yeah,
then,
I
because
think-
I'm confused.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, can you, and I kinda have an idea, reverse mortgage versus reverse for purchase? Like, what
Yeah,
is
well,
it?
I was thinking reverse mortgage, you know, you get a refi and they pay you
Get
money
those
every
other
month,
sheets
right? So I'm thinking you close on the loan and you have equity early because you haven't collected
It
payment.
sounds so different.
So I'm wondering, do they
Wait.
keep the equity or
Hang on.
okay,
We're talking about 2 different things.
Okay.
One is a
Yes.
Corvette, one is a Buick.
okay.
No, that's a bad analogy.
Yeah.
One is a Buick, one is an Oldsmobile. Which one do you want to talk to about?
No, I wanna
The
talk about
regular
the purchase.
reverse
Yeah,
or the
how do you
purchase?
do the purchase?
Yeah,
How does that
wait,
work?
Wait, do you want to talk about the purchase or the regular where they already
Well,
own
we
it?
need to know the difference.
Okay, let's start with the difference and then we'll go big.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
there you go, thank
Could I
you.
have one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, here's an extra.
thanks so
Do you
much.
have one?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you have these handouts.
Am I confusing?
Purchase reverse mortgage if you are buying a home. Other one, regular reverse mortgage. You don't have
Oh,
That's the regular reverse.
this is the regular?
When you already
Yep,
own
yep.
the property.
it? Okay, those references are.
There's one that says,
Reverse mortgage?
I need,
I don't think any of this
I don't know
sorry
who
if
read
I'm throwing
this.
you off.
No, you're not.
I was about to ask that question, Nick. I'm like,
If you're buying, I need one out of the other kit. reverse the purchase, white sheet.
Yeah, we don't, I don't.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have that.
We don't have it.
Yes, you,
When
It's not in
we have
there.
just one.
was it not in the handout?
No, ma'am.
Uh-uh.
No.
Let me look in here.
See if it's in this.
I thought it was in the red.
No.
No,
it's
it's
not in
not
the
in the
red.
red.
Okay,
But that's okay, I mean, I can
No,
take notes and then we can
we-
distribute
We
it.
need to know the difference.
Yeah.
too.
We
Yes.
want to know the difference, but I can email it to
Because
everybody.
that's
but
probably
how
later,
did
why
I
too.
know that?
we're hearing bad things about
They like
one
you
but not
better.
the other.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
They like you better. So you got it later.
Huh?
It's because she works for me.
I know.
Do you have one?
I have one for buying.
Here.
You guys are
And they
missing
call
the
these.
buying.
Look at this.
Yep, you wanna run copies?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna go do it.
I think that's probably way below her pay grade.
It's
But I
alright,
thank you.
I don't think any of us have a problem running the copy machine, do we?
So, let's talk, we'll do the reverse for, and if this runs over, are you guys okay
Oh,
with
no,
that?
no,
or-
no, no.
Okay, because I think the time is up. So your CE's over, so now we're gonna have fun. Now we're really gonna learn. You've got the regular, it says regular.
Right.
Okay, this is where they own their house,
Right.
they own the house, and they've lived in it for X years.
Right.
And it has a ton of cash in it. Oh, but I can't afford my property taxes anymore. I'm gonna need some money, you know, that financial planner pissed away all my money, it's all gone. My Medicare supplement just went up, I'm gonna need more money. So I always say, if you need more money, call Sunny. Because Sunny has houses full of money, okay? It's a very simple concept. So, based, and remember again, age driven.
Right.
Just a second, you don't have it, yet, she's making copies.
No, we have the
Oh, we're
regular
doing
reverse.
That's
Talking
what
about
we're-
right.
We have the regular.
You have the regular, got
We're
it,
good,
thanks,
we're good.
okay. So they have, these people are this. And let me tell you, I do a ton of these for realtors. When the market goes down, I have 30 realtors. You probably don't remember me, I was in that class. Do any of you know Don Cook?
Yeah.
Okay, so he usually has me come in as a speaker in the SRES classes, talk about the reverses. So it's always funny, because I'm sitting there and like, there are usually 4 realtors, like, what was your name again? Can I have your card? You're not gonna tell anybody, are you? I don't even know anything. So shortly after, when the real estate market goes down and their sales slow down, then they call me to get the equity out of their house, okay? So, this is where they own this house, they've owned it for I don't care how long. And they've got a ton of equity. We do a loan on this, we give them money. Just a second, I have to see if I have the money. Oh, look. Sunny does have money. So they need to get a loan on their current house. So you call Sunny, we give them money. It's very simple. It's based on the appraised value then, not what they paid for it, not what we think it's gonna be then, okay? And the age of the youngest person. But everybody in the house has to be how old? How old?
62.
Perfect. Oh, but it's this older woman that has bat wings like me, bingo wings, and she's married to a 50-year-old dude. Are we gonna do it?
No.
No.
No. Then they're gonna get creative. Well, what if he comes off the deed? I'm not doing it. The answer is no. There are some things you don't jack with. One of those is the FHA. Internal Revenue, FHA, don't jack with them,
Right.
okay? So, then we will give them money based on the appraised value and the age of the youngest borrower. And all the rules are the same. They make no payments as long as one of them is living in the house. Pay your property taxes, pay your homeowner's insurance. That's it.
What about the current loan that they have on the house?
We pay off that.
That's paid off. Okay.
Now, let's say that they have, it's a $300,000 house. Just always try to remember 50%. It may turn out to be 40 or 42%. You have an extra one? It could, thanks so very much. It could turn out to be 42%, but just think 50, okay? So they have a $300,000 house, and it has a $200,000 mortgage. Let me see, is that more or less than 50%? More. Can I do the regular reverse? No. That's it, I'm so sorry. The only thing they can do is they can go to the 401k account, open it up, and I had a pharmacist do this. I thought I was gonna die. I just never known anyone wanted to do that. So he said, I've got it in my 401k. And I thought he was saying it like showing off. And I said, oh, aren't you fortunate? He said, so can I get the money in my 401k and pay down my current mortgage so I can do this reverse then? I said, yeah. Now I've had lots of
That
people.
makes sense if you're just barely over the 50%, right?
I don't know, what about 180,000?
Oh,
So,
Depends, I guess, how much he has in 401k.
Right,
lots,
right.
but now he's 180 less. But he wanted to retire, his wife wanted to retire, and they had this big mortgage because they just refinanced it 5 years sooner.
Right.
So they couldn't, they, for whatever reason, didn't want to, they wanted to retire soonly. And I said, but you realize you could just call up Ding Dong, Mr. 401k, and take an extra $2,000 a month out. No, my wife doesn't want to do it that way. And he said, listen, at my age, if the wife ain't happy, ain't nobody. And I thought, well, I'm certainly not gonna say no to a loan. So we did it. So they can go to somewhere, they can't borrow that money. I mean, they can't go to a bank, and if they're short 100 grand, they can't go to a bank and borrow 100 grand to pay this mortgage down. They can take it out of a 401k. Their rich daughter can give it to them, an annuity, something like that. But they can't go to a bank and borrow it. And let me tell you, we track money. We're very good at tracking money.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, but Mercedes can track a dime from 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I have a processor and an underwriter that are just like, meh.
That's their job though.
It is.
So that is how a regular reverse works. That is where they get money out now. Now, let me tell you some maybe not too great things about that. Can I sit down? I'm so sorry.
Sure.
So, it used to be, you have I gotta use easy numbers because I'm really not good at math. You have a 400, and we're still on the regular reverse, they own the house. You have a $400,000 house with no mortgage. Ooh, wow. Everyone thinks 50%, they're gonna get 200,000. Back then, that was true. I could do this one day out of bankruptcy. They could have a 4 credit score. I don't mean a 400, I mean a 4. They could have judgments, they could have, it didn't matter what, and I could do it. Not anymore. October 17th last year, the whole world changed. So, they have to have pretty good credit to do either a regular or a reverse for purchase. And
Pretty good. 650, 620,
we don't want to go by credit,
580.
no, don't worry about the credit score. I'm looking for missed house payments,
Okay.
missed car payments. If they got a ton of medical write-offs, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm looking for a little bit of income. I need 14, this is so easy, 14 cents a square foot of income. Does that sound familiar? Do any of you do VA loans? That's a VA number.
I've done them, but I've never heard that
I know.
term.
Their
Even when I
income-
was a loan officer, I never heard
Their
that term.
income has to be 14 cents a square foot. So if they're buying, I can't do math. Does anybody have a calculator? What is 14 cents a square foot times 2,000? 2,000 square foot house. That-
2,800.
20, so that's their income monthly.
No, it's 280.
There you go, 280. Bad.
Yeah.
So then they gotta make $280 a month. You think people could do that? Probably.
Yeah.
And wait, to that, we gotta add 1 month of homeowner, 1 month of taxes, 1 month of HOA dues if they have them. So now we're probably up to what, maybe a whopping $500 a month? We started off at 280, we added some stuff in, we're at 500. Think your people could do that? Yes. Okay,
Yeah, it's less than 1,000 for sure.
that's all we really care about. Cause this loan was invented
interesting.
to help seniors. Now, I know that Obama and everybody else says that the HARP and the Home Again or something like that, they were invented to try to help people that are in financial distress. I don't really believe any of that because the hurdles are still high. Our hurdles are not that high. 14 cents a square foot, 1 month homeowner, 1 month insurance, 1 month HOA dues, bingo, you're in. That's it.
That's the income requirement, so there's no ratio or
Nope,
credit
nope,
score
nope, nope.
requirement. Got it. Okay.
So you were talking about, you have 400,000, owing it
Thanks.
and get us.
So they have a $400,000 house, we're on the own it now, okay? So they have a $400,000 house, they need some money. Way back, we didn't give them a check, we'd wire $200,000. October 17th last year, the rules changed. First of all, we're not gonna give them the 200,000, we'll probably give them 170 instead of 200. Oh, and by the way, we don't give it to them all in one time. You don't just get all this money. We're gonna give it to you in dribs and drabs. So we're gonna give you some of the money now, you're gonna wait a year, and then we're gonna give you the rest of the money if you want it.
If
Or-
you want it.
Pardon me?
If you want it.
If you want it. Or you can say, I need 10,000 now, boom, because I need a roof and a hot water heater to do. Oh, and then I'm gonna want $1,000 a month. I can structure things probably any way they want it. They can, if we do a structure, meaning something different, normally they take a lump sum. When I say a closing, it's not a closing, it's 4 or 5 days later, and we wire it in. So they're gonna get a chunk of money, and the rest is gonna sit there. The money that sits in the line of credit grows by something. It's usually 4 point something compound or 5 point something compound.
It's a draw.
And-
Which is
Pardon me?
better than a,
Which is
any
for the
CD
savings
or
account.
money market, that's actually
I
not
have
bad.
financial planners who are having their clients. See, 6 years ago, financial planners wouldn't even talk to me. I hate you. Get out and don't come back. Don't even. This one thing. What are you burning up my phone lines for? And I wrote his name down. And I wanted to say, you're gonna be calling me someday. Guess who called 2 months ago? The guy. And I wanted to say, what are you burning up my phone lines for? Because I've never forgotten how rude he was.
Oh,
But, and so he did, his client had a big house, did a big loan on it, and left most of it in a line of credit. First of all, I always wondered, why do you think that was necessary? The answer is the financial planner pissed away the first chunk of money the homeowner gave him. So now he's got to replace that money and a combination of the stock market's in. I mean, when the oil is down to $24 a barrel, let me tell you, everyone's sucking wind. When the stock market crashes 600 points in a week, my business, boom. I always say that Ann Clayton, who's my closer, laughs and goes, "You are like a vulture." And I went, well, somebody got to pick the bones. But I mean, I am like one, in bad times, I am the last stop before the pawn shop. Before they start pawning the big diamond in Highland Park, they'll call me because nobody knows there's a reverse mortgage on their house. And it's funny, the wealthy ones always say, "Now you don't have that sign on the side of your car, do you?" And I always say, "No, but I have this great big 4-foot sign I put right smack dab in front of your door." No, I don't do that. So,
yeah.
so let's
Okay,
go
so
back.
they have this loan, now what happens?
We're not there yet, hang on 1 second. So, and I have to stay on my topic, sorry. So, they closed on the loan, we gave them some money. Then, there are other choices, normal choices are, you still have 200,000 in a line of credit. Okay, I want you to give me, divide that out by my age and pay me X amount a month forever until I'm dead. We don't know when he's gonna die. So we use that mortality table, Social Security mortality table. We divide it out and then think, oh, he's gonna die when he's 99 or 86 or whatever it is. So we give him X amount a month on that. But he says, I don't want that. I have to have $1,400 a month. I never ask why. I did ask one time, and the guy said, because my wife is in a sanitarium and that's what her monthly upkeep is. So I don't ask after that. And the guy cried. So he needed $1,487.14 a month to pay her bill. Okay, fine. Then we gave him some money. Then we set it up for $1,487.14 a month. But I told him, this may not last your lifetime. He said, I just want it to last hers. It's your money. It's the customer's money. It's not my money. Okay? Now, the reason they changed the rules and only gave you some of the money now and then make you wait a year? Does anybody know why that may have happened?
Someone burned through it at some
To
point.
prevent fraud?
No.
No.
They spend it all too soon, too fast
Oh, yeah.
on something.
Too much, too fast, too soon.
Mhm.
I have a guy, I can tell you his name, he's dead now. His name is Ronald Reevy, and he had a huge yellow lab. He had a beautiful house in Austin with not a stick of furniture in it. Well, that's not really true. He had a recliner and he had a big screen. Then he had a big dog bed over there for the dog. This was the fattest lab, his dog, I ever seen. And I said, Mr. Reevy, don't you think maybe the dog should go on a diet? There's nothing wrong with her. I said, she looks like she's having quadruplets. Well, she only eats once a day. I said, what do you feed her? Well, we get in the car, and they all drive parade float cars, these 1986 Buicks. So she and I get in the car, we go down to McDonald's, and we get a Big Mac. I said, so you give her part of the Big Mac? Oh, no, I wouldn't eat a Big Mac. The Big Mac's for her. She just doesn't like it with pickles. So that the dog is eating, how many calories in a Big Mac?
Probably
1,300?
800 to
A
1,000.
million, okay? And they're all on my thighs. So that is what that dog was eating. So the guy does it alone. We give him this is when we used to give him all the money at one time. The guy calls me up in 6 months, and he has had this real distinctive voice. I need some more money. I said, Mr. Reedy, we gave you all your money, but I want to get some more. And I want to say, do you see a little plastic plug on my tummy that you take off and you shake, shake, shake like a piggy bank and more money comes out? No, you're done. And I tell everybody that. You're going to do this one time. Don't call me back. This is like getting a tattoo. Make sure the name is spelled right. Because you don't call me back and say, I kind of spent it all. And I tell people, don't buy new cars with it. Don't buy new girlfriends, new boyfriends. Don't join country clubs. You sit, it's like inheriting money. Anytime you inherit money, people tell you, don't do anything for a year. Don't make a decision for a year. This guy didn't wait a year. 3 months he was broke. Then Chase Bank starts calling me. When's he gonna get his money? Say what? There is no more money. It's one time. Well, he said, we gave him this loan and he said you were gonna be paying it off. I said, did it ever occur to you to call me to see if I agreed to pay it off? Because there is no more money. So people do go through it fast. In his case, he got a Hispanic lady to move in. She does my laundry. I don't know why. I mean, he wore the same clothes all the time, I'm sure. He had no furniture. Oh, I've got furniture now. We went to Haverty's and I have a whole house full of furniture. And he said, and she does this and she does that. I said, so why are you broke? Well, her oldest son went to jail and I had to make his bail. And somebody's car was repossessed, I had to pay that. So understand, seniors are so vulnerable. And if they're alone, whether it's the husband whose wife has passed, even if she died 20 years ago, it doesn't matter. So if he hasn't remarried in 20 years, he's still carrying a torch. I don't care how cold she is, he's still hot for her. So they are in I always think of them as in an altered state of mind. You have to be so cautious and so kind and so caring.
I do have a question. If this is, they don't need a mortgage payment, why would it matter a fixed rate or an adjustable rate? How would that work?
Okay, an adjustable rate is where you get to leave the money in the line of credit.
Oh, gotcha, that's what I
A
mean.
fixed rate loan is you get one bite of the
Okay.
apple, done.
Okay.
Now, and I can show you all these things, but it'll take a while for it to grasp all. On a fixed rate, they net, total net, less, sometimes 35% less than on a fixed rate. Why? Because on a fixed rate, we give you all the money one time, well, we're not gonna give you very much. Why? She hit it nail on the head. The people go crazy. So we make them get an adjustable rate mortgage, and we keep some of the money back in a line of credit. So next year, when the property taxes are due, we've got some money to pay them with. Now, granted, after they get all their money out, we can't pay the property taxes anymore.
Who's we? Who?
the lender.
Okay, and who's typically the lender? I mean, does it end up being a big bank, or does it end up?
Well, almost every single almost every single reverse mortgage loan is sold.
Okay.
I just closed one last week, I think, and it was sold before it closed. I mean, I had the people right there sign a transfer servicing. It was such a beautiful
Who
loan.
are they sold to, like Wells or?
No, they don't buy it. It goes to companies either like RMS, as in Sugar, Reverse Mortgage Solution, or RMF, as in Reverse Mortgage Funding, or C-Link, C-E-L-I-N-K. There's also some investors in New York. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jim Benson, not the puppet guy because he's dead, or Muppet guy.
Henson.
Pardon me?
He's Henson.
Oh, that's probably why it's not the same guy.
Yeah.
That's weird that I knew that, sorry.
Bring it down.
So there's a huge group of investors out of New York City, and the big guy is Jim Benson, and he used to be the president of John Hancock Life, and he has a private equity funding thing that buys a ton of reverse mortgages.
So what's the downside? So like, give us a horrible scenario. I mean, well, obviously the guy who spent all his money, but
You don't pay your property tax, you don't pay your homeowner's insurance, you don't pay your HOA dues, you're in deep doo-doo, honey bun, and nothing's gonna stop it. Unless, in fact, I was just talking about this poor little guy down in Austin about this. It wasn't my loan now, he wasn't my customer. But he's a veteran, he's lost both his legs to diabetes and stuff, he's unable to pay the property taxes, homeowner's insurance. And by God, they're gonna foreclose on him, which they can do under the deeds and the notes he signs. So he said, what am I gonna do? I said, let's see, you're Houston, the other would be KHOU, let me give you this reporter's name and phone number, call her, tell her I sent you.
Was it right up in the story about his?
KHOU's TV. And I said, oh, and by the way, when the reporter's coming out with the cameras, you're gonna have about 6 of your VFW buddies in your uniforms. You know how their hats, they still always have their hats. They can't fit in the rest of the uniform, but they still have their little hat. You're all gonna be, all you Korea guys are gonna be standing up in your uniform. That's the only way you can stop it.
but you can still sell your house, can't you?
Oh, yes, great point. You can sell this house anytime you want,
And you get all the proceeds of the sale?
After you
after
pay
pay
off.
off this note.
Okay.
And in that case, her case, you'd have to pay off back property
So,
taxes,
Because the
HOA.
title company's
Yes.
gonna recognize the lien.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're gonna do the
Okay.
research.
Well, I have a client that moved from California. He put his big chunk of money down in California on a house. Then he got here, he retired, and he was just taking little piddly jobs. But then he decided he wanted to remodel his house, and he buys plastic cars. So he took a reverse mortgage out, remodeled the house, bought some plastic cars
wait, here or there?
in Austin.
Okay.
And now, because Austin properties have gone crazy, he's gonna sell it, and he still has a ton of equity, even after the reverse mortgage, because the house has gone up in value, especially because he remodeled it. It's gone up in value so much that it way offsets any interest or cost of the reverse mortgage that he took to use the money to remodel it.
Yeah.
So he used it for remodeling.
Yep. you
I
can.
think where my
He's cleaning up.
misconception and thought negatively about a reverse mortgage was because if they wind up taking all the cash and they have this huge loan out there, and then they die, and then I thought that meant that regardless of how much equity there was or wasn't, it automatically went to the bank. I didn't know that it.
No,
Yeah.
the
I
equity
guess
still
I
goes
wasn't
to the
really-
heirs.
Yeah, I
If
was
there is
confused on
equity,
that, so I
right.
think that
If
was
there is
part of it.
equity, it goes to the heirs.
But on the regular reverse,
Now,
there's
let
no
me say
walk
some-
away clause.
Pardon me?
On a regular reverse?
Yes.
Is there a walk away clause?
All of them.
Okay.
They're all walk away loans.
Okay, so if they get themselves in trouble or whatever, they can just get on down the road and don't even worry
Yes.
about it. Okay. That's what, thank you.
Have y'all seen The Big Short?
No, I'm going to.
You all have to see
What
it.
is Big Short?
The Big Short, it's about the mortgage crisis and it's
2007.
shot, 2007 in the industrial report. It's amazing. It
Well, I was-
made me look at our business in a whole new way.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I live up in Denton, and of course we have Robeson Ranch up there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And then the little area I'm in it started out, it wasn't an official seniors, but that's who they marketed to, so like everybody, you know, now it's more families, but in the
If they
beginning it was
can't,
almost
if
all.
they can't afford ropes and ranch, then they live over where you are.
No, if they can't, if they want something nicer than Robertson
Oh,
Ranch, they
well,
live in ours.
Oh, I see, okay.
Because ours is a little gated Tuscan Hills, and the homes went up to $1 million.
Oh, is it Tuscan Hills?
Yeah, Tuscan
Oh, yeah,
Hills, yeah.
they were on TV, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, so how is that different from the purchase then?
Okay, so on the regular reverse, let's go back to our little house. This is a house they've had forever, it has cash in it, okay? I'm gonna take some of the cash out. I hope this comes out.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna take some of the cash out and I'm
Just
gonna loan it to
copies,
them.
or is that real?
No, no, no.
I know.
Where's she pulling on it?
Mary's like, oh,
I think everybody needs to take a bathroom break and leave me in
It's like
here.
where she started.
We got our bodyguard, don't worry.
When she was ripping at it.
I
that's-
did.
Well, you know, it's funny, I've never had anybody steal money,
No.
ever.
No, you wouldn't, I'm here.
So,
We
so
got
we loan the money out,
dropping it though.
okay? I got it.
Okay.
That's what happens when you use that hot glue. So I should have used glue dots,
Yeah,
but I
be
used
careful.
hot glue.
Yeah.
So we give, on a regular reverse, we take money out of their house and loan it to them. They have multiple different payoffs, we talked about it. Some now, and then some more in a year, put in a line of credit, call me up when you want some, da-da-da-da-da-da. All those are in a regular reverse where you have the money in the house. Now, we're gonna talk about a reverse for purchase. You're going to buy a house and it has no money in it yet. You're gonna go to the closing with half the money. I'm gonna come with half the money, okay? Therefore, you don't get any money, you customer, don't get any money out on a reverse for
But you were able
It's
to
an
buy a
equity
more
of property.
expensive house.
You get a $400,000 house and it would cost you $200,
Right.
$200,000.
Mhm.
Or you did a $300,000 house and the realtor made $18,000 instead of Crummy did a $9,000. I'm always thinking of the realtors.
Okay, so that's the only difference, is
So with the
you
monthly
double the
payment.
size of house that they can buy.
It gives you
with
more
their
purchase power.
Do they
on it.
do they have payments?
Yeah.
No!
No
Oh.
payment.
No principal, no interest.
Are their
Interest.
income requirements the same?
14 cents a square foot plus 1 month HOA, 1 month
So no
homeowner, 1 month.
It almost seems like
house.
it's too easy to be true.
But is interest accruing on the 200,000?
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, so that, you know,
Right.
that interest
So what
is
are the
accruing.
rates on something like
Oh
that?
my. So on an adjustable, you're probably looking, and I don't know what they are, but you're probably looking at 4.5. The big thing that you're gonna see on an amortization table, I thought I brought one, maybe I
There's
didn't.
some tables.
There's not an amortization in yours.
Oh.
Is,
All that money.
Yeah. Just flying around.
the amortization table, this is a negative, either one, either regular reverse purchase. They are negative amortization products. You know what that means?
Yeah.
You know the game Pac-Man?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sooner or later, Pac-Man's gonna eat up all the equity in your home. Whether it's a reverse for purchase or a regular reverse. If you live long enough and you did this early, 62 is very young to me, okay?
Mhm.
So my average age is between 78 and 83
Is when people.
when they start.
Okay.
but if you invest wise enough, your appreciation in the home should, in many cases, will offset the interest
This should.
that's being added.
You assume everything's going
Good.
Right,
right.
you're in our market.
Don't ever
Yeah.
base anything on an assumption.
Go see the picture. I mean, to me, I guess I'm
The
looking at it
recycle.
from the perspective of an agent who is identifying the client that you have in front of them and their financial picture that we see initially, and seeing if this is really the right fit for them, and then, you know, establishing, overcoming the negative perception that they may have had from it.
That
So
I'm
really, it's about being a niche expert in this market.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, that's what this is.
Because there are a lot of people who could qualify for this, but
Right.
Is
who
it the right one?
If
want
this is-
to, they're never gonna see their $150,000.
Correct.
Right,
Correcto.
they don't care about leaving it to their kids, or they
That,
don't,
you just.
or they don't have
That
any
is-
people
that's
to leave it
identifying it,
to,
though.
and then
Yeah.
want their quality of life to be spent in an upgrade fashion. That's right.
Or
Isn't it?
one-
That's what I'm trying to
Or
say.
one
Right.
story, cause
Right.
somebody's in a wheelchair and they want,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
40-inch wide thing.
True.
So the only, I think you asked me in the very beginning, what's the bad thing about it?
Mhm.
If they don't die soon, and as soon as sometime, I don't know, in the next 20 years, there's not gonna be any equity left in the house. So if they say, because like my parents were this way, my parents are both dead, but when they died, not when they died, they didn't ever wanna do anything with the house they grew up in because they were gonna leave it to me. Now, granted, the house was fabulous, and it was in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, which is in a super duper school district. They paid $37,000 for it. I sold it for 400 and some thousand. Many years later. But then we have, what if I'd have had a brother or a sister who said, I want to sell it now. I want to sell the house now. I need my money now. Well, I didn't want to sell the house now. I didn't sell the house for almost 20 years. Why? Well, we have a big house, not so big, but in a great school district, on a park, that it was good for me growing up. I never went to jail. And so, let's see, it's right outside of Pittsburgh. Oh, there's Carnegie Mellon, that's a school. Oh, there's University of Pittsburgh. Oh, there's Westinghouse. Oh, there's US Steel. All of these big companies are there, and this house is 20 minutes from their headquarters. So I had tons of professors. This house was rented out to somebody at Carnegie Mellon for 12 years. Now, they were different people, because my phone would ring and say, hi, Sonny, this is so-and-so. I'm going to be the new tenant at such and such. I'm like, so did Professor, what's his name, Gaudy, G-A-U-D-Y, did he move? Oh, yes, he's been transferred to, is it Southern Cal or some big brain school? He took a professorship or something, a chair at Southern Cal. I went, oh, so who are you? Oh, I'm the new professor of whiz bang, whatever it was. I never saw these people, I never interviewed them. I would call the school, does Dr. So-and-so, is he really there? Oh, yeah, he's gonna run the mathematics, or they did these conductor things, they were real big into tech stuff. I never saw anybody for 12 years. Checks, boom, boom, it was great. What if I'd have had a brother or a sister who said, no, I want you to sell it now?
You could have got a reverse mortgage and paid them off their half equity.
Does it have to be an owner-occupied property?
Yes.
Oh, it has to be on our.
Now, what is an owner-occupied property? Ooh, could that be a great house out in West Texas that's a log cabin that's in a 2-buck county? I'm talking hunting here. In a 2-buck county, and their kids are all grown, and they're gonna sell the big house in Bentry, and they're gonna buy this knocked out cabin in not West Texas, but West Texas, the area. But they're not really gonna live there, because they're really gonna kinda sort of live here because their kids, da-da-da-da. But
So it
they're
could be
gonna
a second
try,
home.
cannot be a second home. So,
They rent here and they own that.
bingo.
Oh.
Driver's license shows the 2-buck county, whatever it is, Chico or something like that. Or, I did a really nice one down on Lake Livingston. That's where I called the realtor and said, hey, I got a customer. And she didn't sound happy. And I said, are you excited? She goes, you don't know how many people call me up and say that. I went, no, but I mean this. So I didn't do the deal with her, I called another one. She was happy. So, it has to be owner occupied.
So if you do run out of equity, they can't kick you out. You get to stay there till.
Forever.
Okay.
Excellent question,
And
forever.
then, once you die, your estate has 1 year to do something with it.
And do what with it then, if they don't have any, why
Well,
don't
maybe
they
they
walk
do have
away?
equity.
Well, they still have equity.
There is
Maybe.
equity.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe.
if they still do, yeah. I mean, I had a senior, he was a senior and he had a massive stroke. And so he was 63, and he could, he couldn't work anymore. He was bound to a wheelchair. So he's like, okay, I have all this equity in my house, but I don't want to move from my house because it's perfect for a handicapped person. Then he goes, I gotta invest, but and I said, well, let's do a reverse mortgage on your house because your house is free and clear. Let's take the money you get, I'll put it in an investment property that will pay you a tremendous income every month. That's what he did. He took one big lump sum, bought him a fourplex. He made an insane amount of income on that fourplex. And then 5 years later, I called him and said, your fourplex in 4 years is over doubled in price. Let's sell it. And that's what we did. And so he used the reverse equity money to go buy an investment property to give him income.
And he's touched on a good point. These are good, whether for a single family or a 1 to 4 family home.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a whole lot, and don't get mad, I'm gonna talk about Orientals. They have more money, I don't know where it comes from, but and they're smart. They all want to buy a duplex, a triplex, or what is it, fourplex?
Fourplex. Mm-hmm.
That's it, because they want somebody else to support them.
Yeah.
And most of them say, you're gonna love this one, because I'm putting my daughter through Stanford. Their daughters are never going to crappy little schools. They're always at Stanford or SoCal or someplace great, So, I mean,
My
you're just,
husband is in Harvard.
I was gonna say, aren't you completely offended now?
Totally, oh my gosh, let me see, no.
did you mark a no?
No, I'm
Did you
just
mark it
kidding,
bad?
it's all yes.
Oh, okay. So, she brought up a really good point. Now, let me say this on condos. If anybody calls you up and goes, I want to get a condo and I want to do a reverse for purchase, the first thing you're going to want to do is either, if you know how to access the FHA website, do that.
Yeah.
You need to find out, is this new condo place, does it have an
Oh,
FHA ID?
Yeah.
And if somebody says, we used to, I don't care if you used to,
Not anymore.
not
Yes,
anymore.
correct.
And then they'll say, and they could get it back again. Well, there's a reason they don't have their FHA ID back. And my number one guess would be they didn't have enough the association didn't have enough money in the reserves to keep the FHA requirement.
And I'm finding exclusions harder to get.
Oh, you can't get inclusions, yeah.
I mean, you still can, but they're harder to get. I just got one on a condo that was not an FHA deal, and we got an FHA loan because they went in and we got an exclusion, and they gave them an FHA loan in a non-FHA approved condo, but they will only do a very small percentage per complex that when they do that, and they're getting much pickier about than they used to be.
It has to be less than 50%. More than 50% have to be owner occupied.
Right.
And less than 30% can be FHA loans.
Right, but they're even getting pickier about, like you say, about the reserves in the homeowners association and things like that. They're really, used to, they just kind of, okay, yeah, we'll do it. But now they're like, okay, we want to see all the homeowners, we want to see the docs, we want to see the bank accounts. They'll do it, but it's really hard.
Yeah, this takes more
So
time.
back to the reverse for purchase. They have to own it and occupy it. Single family, twoplex, threeplex, fourplex. They gotta live in one of the units, okay?
Okay.
No personal liability, non-recourse, no deficiency judgment. No mortgage payments required. Now, somebody, I don't know if it was you or her or you, keep talking about when you die, the estate, you're never gonna want the deal structured that way. Why? On a reverse mortgage, whether it's regular reverse or reverse for purchase, the human being cannot do the deduction for the for the interest. Why?
Oh,
They're not paying it. It's being
Right.
added into the loan,
Right.
okay?
okay.
So if you leave this house, whether it's regular reversed or reverse for purchase, to an estate, can an estate take an IRS tax deduction for property taxes paid?
Oh, yeah.
You're correct, the answer is no. So if a house has a reverse on it, you don't ever want to, and I tell all my people, first thing we're gonna do now is make out a will. I'm not gonna make it out. Call an attorney and make sure that the house goes to a daughter or a son. Well, I was gonna put it in my estate. No, you're not. Because you could have if it's a big house, you could have $100,000 of unpaid property tax, unpaid interest. And then it's gonna get paid when the deal closes, when it's sold to the next owner. That's when you get to take that interest deduction. Is that gonna help the estate taxes?
No, but it'll help a person, yeah.
It has to go to
That's
one
interesting.
single,
It could be,
Social
brothers and
Security.
sisters and stuff, but I always tell people, you will lose your, IRS interest deduction if you leave your house to your estate. Because your estate can't take
Oh,
a
okay.
deduction,
okay.
So-
only a person, a human can.
So do you only do loans in Texas? Do you do loans?
I only do loans in
Because I'm like
Texas.
my in-laws are buying a house right now, their house is paid off.
Where are they?
Iowa.
Don't know anybody in
Yeah.
Iowa.
Because I was thinking that maybe because.
I have connections mainly like in Florida, New York, East Coast, and California, loaded in California, Nevada.
Okay.
All the retirement places.
Well, that's where you get loan officers that tend to really be passionate about it and they hang around for a long time.
Yeah.
Because like in the forward loan world, not very many loan officers have been with the same job for 15 years. Well, I was making a quarter point more, so I moved.
Yeah.
Right. So, we have nothing to do with TRID. Yay. I don't even know what TRID means, but it sounds ominous. I've been to 2 or 3 different luncheons lately and every speaker talks about TRID, like it's a fungus or something. So, and I will help you get your deals done the very best I can.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks.